Since the cost of daily necessities has increased over the past few years, American families' monthly budgets have steadily shrunk. While we have been able to postpone discretionary purchases or take the bus rather than driving, food prices in the U.S. have skyrocketed. Given that there are only a limited number of things you can do without in order to meet your daily needs, it is practically impossible to avoid inflation. The price of food increased by 12.4% overall last year, the highest annual increase in 23 years. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the cost of groceries increased by 13.5% in the last year, and eating out increased by 8.6% as a result of restaurants raising their prices to cover their own costs. Customers are looking for deals and discounts that only manufacturers of food retailers can provide, as they try to stretch their dollars as far as possible in the face of rising food prices. In this video, we will talk about Walmart's food prices have increased by 125%. But before that, please like, subscribe, and click the bell button for the latest economic updates. Now let's get started. A recent study revealed that prices are not as low as most of us would like to believe at the retail behemoth Walmart stores, where grocery sales account for 60% of revenue. In order to track food inflation at Walmart stores, Brian McCall, a financial analyst at Tradingpedia, crunched the numbers for the most popular foods sold at the stores at the largest retailer in the world. The results he and his team discovered were quite startling. 34 grocery items from 6 different categories were examined by McCall. Meats, fruits, vegetables, beverages, and condiments. They used a web archive tool to look up the prices for dairy, eggs, and canned foods. The goal was to understand how the consumer purchasing power in terms of purchasing grocery items has changed during this time. So 2 years ago, we calculated the percentage of price increases of these 34 products and compared it with the increase in the average weekly earnings of all employees in the U.S. over that same period, he wrote. According to an analysis, the retail behemoth increased its prices for a package of chicken breasts by 31% over the previous 2 years, McCall said. The price of dairy and eggs increased the most, on average, by 70%, while the cost of a package of 18 eggs increased by 126%, and the cost of a gallon of milk decreased by 150%. In comparison to 2020 prices, sweet onions saw a dramatic increase of 165%. And an 8-pack of Pepsi saw a dramatic increase of 67%. Walmart saw an average price increase of 22% for meat and seafood, 29% for vegetables, 48% for olive oil, and 57% for tomato sauce. The researchers discovered that consumers' purchasing power for grocery shopping decreased by almost 6% during that same time period, when they compared those price increases to the average weekly earnings of all U.S. workers. A similar report by retail analysts at J.P. Morgan found that Walmart increased prices the most among major food retailers in the most recent quarter. The report noted that Walmart's pricing advantage over other food retailers deteriorated this past quarter, while the official inflation rate for grocery stores increased. In the 3 months that ended in September, prices rose 3.2% overall, and in the third quarter at Walmart, prices rose 5.5%. At roughly 4.5% each, Target and Kroger were not far behind, with Albertsons coming in third at 3.9%. In recent statements, the company's executive said that double-digit food inflation has hurt sales in other areas of its supermarkets, and will continue to do so for the rest of this year. The rising prices at Walmart stores are having a significant impact on its customers' grocery bills. Since food retailers typically pass on the price increases imposed by food manufacturers, the company predicted that earnings per share for its fiscal 2023 will decline by 11 to 13, and come in below the most recent Wall Street estimate. The cost of the raw materials used to make treats like cookies, chips, sodas, and the materials to package them soared over the last year, so these large food corporations started passing along these expenses to supermarkets. However, these large food corporations admit growing concerns that another recession is beginning to unfold. Food manufacturers typically raise prices in small steps out of worry that big increases would frighten consumers and send them looking for cheaper options. Even after covering their own inflation-driven costs, some of these food companies continue to raise prices. According to Kyle Herrick, president of Accountable, the most recent earnings calls have only served to reiterate the unwelcome and overused theme that businesses did not need to raise prices so significantly for struggling families. As an advocacy group, We receive calls that inform us that businesses have exaggerated the price of their own vehicles while nickel and diming customers as a result of inflation, the pandemic, and supply chain issues. Meanwhile, Walmart observed that as a result of rising food prices eating into customers' paychecks, they had to reduce their spending on other categories like clothing and electronics. The rising costs of food and fuel are having an impact on consumer spending. Doug McMillon, CEO of Walmart, stated in a press release that he expects the holiday season to put even more pressure on consumer spending. According to him, the business intends to replace some of the meat and dairy items in its daily lunch menu with less expensive alternatives, because rising prices may lead more customers to reduce their spending on premium items. In recent weeks, Walmart has paused its internal automatic ordering system, as boxes of unsold products have piled up so high that they block access to bathrooms in some stores, according to insiders reporting. This led Walmart to pause its internal automatic ordering system. According to the report, the cost of living crisis has gotten to the point where middle-class Americans are now shopping at discount supermarkets in October. According to global data retail analyst Neil Saunders, households making over $100,000 a year account for about 75% of sales growth at dollar stores, showing that even the middle class is looking for better deals. The consumer's desire for value and low prices is being fueled by the difficult economic times, according to a study released by an insurance company, which he added. According to Breeze Research, rising costs have already caused 73% and 62% of American households to reduce their restaurant and grocery spending, respectively. Dollar General's grocery sales increased by 12% last month, reflecting the fact that many Americans are still struggling to make ends meet. People who have less disposable or discretionary income are looking for value, said Saunders. But buying less is also not much of a solution given that no-name or low-cost food items have been experiencing some of the most pronounced price increases. Research based on data food inflation is still a problem for most retailers, according to a recent survey from the Food Industry Association, a trade group that represents the industry. New Marina found that grocery prices at dollar stores rose by 14.3% from 2021 and 22.5% from 2020. At the same time that foot traffic rose by 20.4% at Family Dollar, 28.2% at Dollar General, 34.1% at Five Below, and 13.7% at Dollar Tree compared to a year ago. Retailers told the organization that these issues have persisted throughout the pandemic and are still causing shortages of items like potatoes, canned goods, and frozen fruits and vegetables. 70% of retailers said supply chain disruptions are negatively impacting their business, up from 42% the year before as consumer demand has increased. Labor shortages, trucking capacity constraints, and shipping capacity constraints. The process of producing food is also slowed down by a labor shortage. As workers look for more lucrative employment opportunities or less taxing jobs, labor shortages continue to be a problem for the food industry as a whole. The sparkling consumer food businesses will continue to pass on recent increases in input costs because of slower food production, according to experts for the FMI, who warn consumers to brace themselves for a new wave of food inflation early in 2023. When the effects of those disruptions become more apparent over the next few months, the impact on prices will be significant, they continue, adding that all of this bad news is coming at a time when, according to a survey conducted, about 90% of Americans are already concerned about food prices. They wrote that since the losses caused by crop failures, the bird flu pandemic, and the relocation of the United States beef cow herd are just starting to appear in our food systems. So, what's your takeaway from this video? Let us know in the comment section below. If you found this video thrilling, make sure to hit the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update from us. Thank you for watching. We'll see you at the next one. Until then, peace.